So what are we talking about today?
Whatever you want, man. You had some
So
good topics on.
so two topics I wanted to talk about. I just kind of like hot from the experience that I had from this week is the gut feeling and the evening routine. So those are the two things that I thought we could talk about that because I was a little bit back and forth with the gut feeling on what I'm offering on the marketing side, and then I was never happy with my evening routine. So let's talk about that.
Okay, which one you want to touch
Let's
on
do
first?
let's do the morning routine or evening routine.
Sure. So what's the routine right now?
So essentially, what I found is it's funny, because like the before when I was going to bed, like I knew that it was really important to have the amount of sleep, like 7 hours, 7.5 hours, but I was not religious about that. I was not very like really disciplined about that, and I had a hard time like waking up in the morning and not feeling fully rested. So I was browsing Instagram, and there was a tweet from there was a post from Tom Billieu, and he said like I'm going to bed 9 p.m. It's a religion, and I'm like, well, let me think about that because like if I do 9 p.m. and then I wake up at 5, it's actual 8 hours. So I started doing that, like really doing like all the way to the minute, and I feel super well rested. And like then every day I have a lot more performance. I feel a lot better, and I can do a lot more work. But what I found is, it's so easy to slip into the mindset where, oh, it's just 10 minutes, just five
hmm
minutes, really quick. I'm gonna check this thing because I don't, and you don't feel like you want to sleep at that time. But what's gonna happen? It wrecks your day, and it wrecks it silently. It doesn't really happen like you don't quite feel it, but it's like a dull pain where it's somewhere there, but you don't quite feel it. But then it still affects you. It affects your cognitive response. So like being really clear, what is your cutoff time when you're working, and like if you're, for example, you have a cutoff time at 8 p.m., you're stop working, maybe do some quick reading, but you go to bed at 9 or whatever at the other time, so you absolutely every day have that amount of time to sleep, makes you a way more productive, and you feel better, you have better thoughts. And so I'm just like, goes back to the discipline, knowing how to like really prioritize to the minute versus like, oh, it's just half an hour.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, sleep is so important. I think the real key isn't when you go to bed. It's when you set the cutoff to stop work and to stop technology. So when you
Hmm.
say, oh, it's just another 5 minutes or just another 10 minutes, usually that's just another 5 minutes or 10 minutes of like browsing social or checking email or, whatever. So what I've done for the last probably 4 or 5 months is I have a time where my laptop goes away and then I have a time when my phone goes away. So for me, I can't get up at 5. I just can't. I get up at 7. So in order to get the 8 hours, I go to bed at 11. But what that means for me is that laptop, no matter what, even if it's work, I have the laptop closed by 9:30 at the latest. I don't normally work that late anyways, but
Hmm.
sometimes you're just browsing forums, whatever, watching videos. No matter what, laptop's off at 9:30, and then phone is so. I mean, we can go more into the routines of what we're doing between that laptop off and going to bed. But
Yeah.
I find the key is getting away from the electronics. So for me, laptop off at 9:30, and then what I do is I do meditation, a little bit of stretching, and then I do 30 minutes of nonfiction reading, so business,
Mm.
marketing, self-help, whatever. And then I go brush my teeth, get ready for bed, and then I read like 15 to 20 minutes of fiction. I like reading fiction, so I read 15 to 20 minutes of fiction, and that friggin' wipes me out. Usually I don't make it to 20 minutes because I'm so wiped out anyways. But because you're not on the phone, you're not browsing, you don't have the blue light or the blue ray or whatever the words are. Um, I think that's the key. Because if you say you want to go to bed at 9, but you're on your phone until 8:58, or you're on your laptop till 8:58, you're not going to have a very good time of like shutting off your brain and everything. And like you said, you don't feel tired. But if you stop all electronics at 7:30 or 8 and you unwind and you get a good routine going and you're reading books, it's going to ease you into that sleep routine.
You got to get back on the YouTube, man. Like when we
That's why I don't watch all those videos. Every 2 days, Sergey's sending me 58-minute video, 42-minute video. I'm like, I'm not gonna watch the videos that are that long for that
I
exact reason. Maybe at lunch. So when I do watch YouTube videos, is lunch and dinner because I'm just sitting there eating anyways. I might as well consume some quality content.
true.
But at night, I don't do that stuff because, like you said, it ruins my morning.
It's true. So the reason the reason I love those videos, it's pure mindset. I learn a lot from those videos. I watch them every morning. I don't watch them. I never watch a 50-minute video. I only listen to them in the background while I'm working out. And that's how I'm able to discover the new content. And those are pure motivational, those are pure psychology, pure mindset stuff. And it helps tremendously because the thoughts that those or the things that people share are so good. So that's why I'm like, hey, you gotta check out this thing. It's half an hour. This is 1 hour.
So when you're working out, you don't, because I work out to music. You don't use music?
So I used to do that. I used to have music before and it was okay, but it was not good enough. It was not good enough because it's not quite like I want to go deep. I want to go deep into why am I doing it because I'm doing it in the morning. My workouts are pretty tough. Like I have a schedule of how many pull-ups, push-ups I have to do, and they're always a stretch. They're always pushing me a lot further than I would want to go. And ideally, I wouldn't work out at all.
Right.
And so music is good, but it's just that the success I find is in psychology and in the mindset. And when you listen to a video I think it's called Modiversity on YouTube, they have a nice background music, which is like score from movies. And then they have a really, really good talks like Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, and like all this really great folks. They have this really good compilations of why you're doing it, why somebody succeeds, somebody doesn't, and that is it's conditioning. You link those thoughts in your brain to the activity that you're doing. It makes you stronger. That's what I felt, and that's the reason I'm never skipping that. And I do it 2 times a day. So I listen to that in the evening as well, but I do it like 15 minutes, and it just kind of brings you back to why are you doing what you're doing. What's the reason? What is the payoff? Who are you doing it for? And I think it's really easy to lose that, but it's really an important part. It's so easy to drift into, I'm going to do it later, or all these excuses. But I find just knowing what you can do, what you have done before, and it's really important. And that those videos that trigger these deep thoughts, deep reflections, helps a lot. And so I love music, but I do not substitute music in the morning. I can listen to it later when I'm outside, and I do it mostly to reflect, because when you're outside, you can have ideas that you'll never usually have while you're working. That's what I found. And so yeah, that's how I usually do it.
I might have to give it a try. I just work out to music, but I've never tried that before, so I'll have to give it a go.
But on your topic, sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just gonna say, what are you doing at night to get so you're asleep by 9? But I really think what's more important than the bedtime is what are you doing in the 1 to 2 hours before it?
Oh, I totally agree. I think that is super important. So essentially, what I do is I read. Usually read a book. It's probably going to be around marketing or business. Those are going to be, or it could be biography. Those are the 3 types of books that I most of the time I read. And I would then I'm going to look at my goals super quickly, and I will come up with, I will look at my weekly goals. Am I on track? Where I'm at? And then I will come up with a list of goals for the next day. And I will just before going to bed. I find it's really cool because you start thinking about how are you going to achieve that next day, and you fall asleep, and that kind of like this thing gets going in your mind. And so the way I do it is I bucket it. I have this 3 buckets of things that I do that are important, and then I prioritize on 80. I do 80/20 on the things that are in those buckets. And then I schedule it on the calendar. And I don't schedule like specific activities. I just schedule it as a this is my time to do my bucket number 1, or then this is my time to do bucket number 2. Because what I've learned is that a lot of times things might take you longer or less. But then if you focus on the big rock, and the bucket could be a big rock like marketing consulting, and then you do the thing that is the most important. If you didn't do anything else, if the day gone to hell, somebody called you, whatever happened, you still accomplished something super important no matter what. And that you feel satisfied, because I had a lot of days where, I did a lot of work, and it was work, but I didn't move the big rock, and the big rock didn't move. So it's something that like I'm really going to move me to where I want to go didn't happen. And so I've always felt that almost like I have a little bit of anxiety, not a little bit of anxiety, like, oh, like I spent the whole day and this thing didn't happen. So I find that kind of like I do a little bit of that. And then, and just fall asleep. I don't really do much other thing. I don't really do meditation in the evening or anything like that. I'm just reading and looking at the goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the goal stuff is good. Maybe because I keep like a running to-do list. I think it might be a good idea for me to take a look at that and create goals based on that for the next day. So I might look into that. The reason why I like meditating at night is because my mind's just racing, and I just, some day, if it's a super busy week or there's something stressful the next day, then it would, it would affect my sleep because my mind would be racing. But ever since I started meditating, usually 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night, I notice a big difference. So that's why I like doing it. But I mean that's pretty much it. Don't want to overcomplicate. I mean, any routines, in my opinion, right? You got to just test a few things, see what works for you. What works for you might not work for me, and vice versa.
Sure.
So it's just a matter of seeing what the options are, trying a few, and sticking with what works.
Well, that's it. I mean, I think there's going to be kind of a trial and error all the time. And I forgot to mention one other important part that I've learned very recently. I did it a little bit over a certain period of time, and then I stopped. When you look at your day, and I do a little bit of a review of the day every day. So like, what did I do? I look at what stuff I was supposed to do. What did I do? And then I have 2 questions, and then I journal in my notebook. What did I do right today? Was there anything good? And then what can I do differently? And I do it every single day. And then what happens is when I say what I can do differently, there's always going to be things, and then I apply them right away. So I don't just put them as a theory. I did that before. Like, great, I have this great list of things that would be nice to do. It doesn't work. You have to apply them right away. So for example, like things that I came up with, like big buckets, focusing on the big rock, doing 80/20, scheduling things on the calendar. Those are the things that I came up with, and I apply them right away. And so I could see results every single day. And so I think that is very like a cool approach, because I've learned like for the very best people, most of the time, they do a debrief every single time. Doesn't matter how well they did. Like I was listening to a story of a military jet pilot who was doing the landings on the ship, and he did 400 landings, which are extremely difficult. He is like one of the best ones out there. He was doing a debrief with his team every single time. After every single landing, he was doing a debrief. And I'm like, that is a commitment to details and excellence. I'm like, I want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely makes sense. Awesome. So was there anything else, Sergey, that you wanted to chat about in terms of the evening routine? Something, I mean, I think ultimately anything self-help related, like we said, is kind of subjective, right? So people can try out what they want, but and see what works. But
the most important part is really to cut off your work a couple of hours before you go to bed. Have a specific time and have discipline of not looking at your phone. Like I would, as you do, I would put my phone in airplane mode, hard, really, really hard. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I know somebody's gonna message me. I'm gonna miss it, but I do that anyways, and it's obviously not as important. Like I can read it in the morning, which I actually don't do. I don't read messages in the morning. I never
No.
read anything in the morning. No, I don't even take my phone a lot of times from the airplane mode in the morning. I literally just play one song until I get into my workout. So it's also a process which I don't want to be distracted by anything in the morning. And for a little bit for a certain period of time, then I will look at my phone. But I think just developing these types of rituals will help tremendously.
Hmm. Yeah, I also kept my phone on airplane mode for probably the first 45 minutes to an hour of my morning until I started with a new meditation app on my phone, um, which needs internet or Wi-Fi. So, but still, I turn it on. I use it for the meditation, and then I'll like throw it on my bed or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyways, maybe in another episode we'll go into morning routines.
Yeah, no, this is good. I mean, this is what you guys could be looking at if you want to get back on track and be more productive during the day. And like the truth is like you can do a lot with the hours you have, even if you sleep 8, 9 hours a day. Everybody's gonna say you gotta sleep 4, 3, 5, 6. It's true, it works for some people, but the truth is the most important part is what works for you. How do you maximize your cognitive response and your performance? And that's what you should be looking at, and not being afraid of sleeping a little bit longer, but being disciplined on what happens when. If it's not scheduled, then it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean it's a simple question of trade-off, right? Like a lot of things in entrepreneurship, it's one versus the other. So 8 hours of sleep and let's say, whatever, 12 hours of work, of really effective work versus 6 hours of sleep and 14 hours of maybe not as effective work. So
Yeah,
trade-off and the health in the long run, right? So if you work
of
for
course.
months and months and months off 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep, who knows what kind of effect that'll have. I have friends who can do that. I don't know how efficiently they work during the day off that little sleep. Some of them don't have a choice because of their job, but I'm happy to take the 8 hours.
Yeah, I like the analogy of Formula One. In Formula One, whenever you are coming off the corner and you have a big straight line, if you're coming off the corner slow, you have a lot of huge penalty by the end of the straight line because you don't have enough speed and you're losing a lot of time because you were slow in the corner. Same thing when you are waking up and you're tired, you're not productive. The penalty is you're going to drag this whole thing during the day, and then
Hmm.
you will. And the thing is, you will never know how much better you would be able to be. In Formula One, everything's measured. It's harder to measure how much more productive could you be. You just have to try different things.
Right. Awesome. I think that's a good note to close on, Sergey.
Totally.
S&G Weekly number 5 in the books. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And what we'll do is if you like Sergey and or I, then we'll throw links to our personal accounts and stuff too in the description.
Yeah, guys, we need likes, we need reviews, at least one review. That will be a good start. We need to break that pattern. 5 stars. Leave us a comment. We need to hear from you. We want to see how do you like the content, and so we can produce more of it.
All right. Thanks, Sergey. Talk soon.
Thanks, Josh.